Hello, hello, and welcome for this new release of Xen Orchestra. This time it's 5.98, and that's the August release for 2024. So, as usual, let's talk first about what's going on in the community and around Vates and Xen and so on. So, the first interesting and, let's say, visible announcement is related to Xen itself, the core hypervisor we use inside XCP-ng. And this release matters for us, not specifically for the features that are inside, but for what we help to bring as the release manager for this Xen release. Alexi is working at Vates, so we're proud of the level of contribution we're doing for it. So I won't go into all the details about what we added, what people added into Xen, and so on. But it's worth taking a look at what beyond. So I explained in this article all the contribution we are doing, what's next, and what we want to achieve with it, and why we organize a Xen Winter Summit in early 2025. So take a look at this article if you want to learn more about this. It's an interesting story on how we're investing more and more into the hypervisor. Let's move to a guide that I wrote like a few weeks ago, a guide regarding XCP-ng HA, so high availability, how it works, and how to use it, the requirements, and all stuff like this. So again, I won't enter to all the details, but that's important to understand what it means to use XCP-ng HA, the risks involved with it, and the requirements that you need to have. So the article is rather large and gives you the entire overview on all of that. So it's really useful to understand the principle, the best way to use it if you really need to use it, and so on. So feel free to have a look. Just to share what we do here at Vates, we do not use HA because our infrastructure is really small, like 3 hosts, 1 shared storage, and so on. And we never had any requirements to use HA. If something is down, I'm notified pretty quickly, and it's easy to make it up again. But for some cases, it might make sense if you follow all the requirements. So it's a good, let's say, article that will recap all of this. Also, as usual, like every month, sometimes twice a month, but more usually once a month, you have security updates for XCP-ng for August. This time, it's mostly about Intel microcode updates, but keep in mind that regardless what do you use as a CPU, making the updates on a monthly, let's say, cycle is a good thing. It allows you to double check you have everything up to date, reboot your machine. You can use rolling pull update mechanism to do that in a fully automated and transparent fashion. So we try to tend to, ask people to do that often. This is a lot better in general. Another rather big announcement, which is not something recurring unlike the security updates, is related to our new training and certification program. So this one is really important. To be fair, it's been a while that we want to get training and certification up and running, but believe me, it's not something easy. However, we managed to get, the actual program ready to start in September with first, let's say, seats available if you want to attend, with what you will learn about XCP, Xen Orchestra, deploy your virtual machines, to make backups and so on. You will have access to remotely, obviously, to dedicated machines that you could install remotely. You will have, someone to explain you everything. It's not a fully automated, training. There's a real human explaining you the theory, helping you to make the, architecture working and so on. And we will deliver certification for that. So you have all the different schedules that are already plan for the first batch for, let's say, half of September up to early October. There is also a waiting list, so feel free to subscribe if there's not enough, seats, because we want to have like small sessions to be sure we could interact with every one of you. So that's why it's important, and that's why we want to make it really useful. That's why there's a waiting list. So feel free to just subscribe, and if there's too many people will create further sessions, and especially if we know how many people are expecting that, it will be easier to scale and get more and more people do the training and so on. So right now it's Yannick and Cecile doing the training, and you will have a certification. You will be displayed as certified in the company. You will be also certified as long as you are inside the company. So go and sign up, read the article if you want to learn more. This is truly important for us. Also, the first 8 to register will have a discount. So, sooner you register, sooner you could have the training session and get also an interesting pricing on it. So if you have any question about this, you can contact us, and we'll be happy to answer you. That's it for the, let's say, the what we call the ignition training. We'll have in the future more, let's say, type of sessions for more advanced or different parts of the virtualization technology, but this is the foundation of how to use and deploy XCP-ng and Xen Orchestra in production. So this one is really important. A news also, we are, as maybe you remember, we started our partner program last year, and it's going very well. We have many partners, and also we made many improvements on the way partners could work with us. We have a new partner locator helping you see where the partners are, and if you want to be in that list, obviously you will have to subscribe to the partner program. You have a fully dedicated partner portal, which is really nice and helping you to do whatever you want to work with your own customers, in a fully automated way and so on. So yeah, feel free to take a look if you're interested. If you're already a partner, then you will enjoy all those new features in the portal partner and so on. And when you will combine it with a certification program, it will be even better. So that's why we are really, eager to continue to move forward with this partner program, and why it's truly important for us to work with our partners. And now let's switch to the Xen Orchestra release by itself. So the first main item that we usually do in first when we talk about a new release of Xen Orchestra is the backup. So this month we spent a lot of time to fix bugs, improve the stability and so on. So we're pretty confident about, for example, CBT for this release with many bug fixes and so on. And we also had the opportunity to improve the backup system directly with first the mirror backup VM selection. So until now, when you made a mirror backup, you will basically backup the entire backup repository with all the VMs inside. But maybe you just want to replicate, or let's say mirror, that's a better word, to mirror the VMs to another place using mirror backup, but just some specific VMs and not all of them that are inside the backup repository or BR. So now you can do that, untick this checkbox and said, okay, I just want to replicate, or again, to mirror those VMs to another place with whatever schedule you want to do. So for example, if you have very important VMs you want to mirror to another place, then you could just select those VMs and leave the others to just be in the main BR, and that's it. So it's really great when you mostly back up your entire infrastructure, but you do not want to mirror your entire infrastructure anyway. So that's why we added this feature, and it will be even improved in the future. We might want to use something more smart and not just let's say a static way to pick up the VM, maybe something with tags and so on. We'll discuss that in the future, but at least you have this opportunity right now, making the mirror backup even more useful regardless the way you do your primary backup, let's say. We also improve on the backup side of stuff, the reports, which is done after each backup. So when you do backup, you got a report that is sent by email or sent to your whatever Slack or MetaMost or and so on. And we realize that sometimes there's too much information, let's say. There is information for every VM, all the details and so on. Sometimes you just don't want to get that. You just want to get the global status. So for that, we enable the shorter or compact backup reports that you can tick on the backup edition. And so thanks to that, you could only display let's say a recap if the backup went fine or not. And this is great because this will reduce the amount of information you get and you choose it. And this means you just want to know if there's a problem or not. You will be notified without all the details. Let's switch to XO6, the future UI, and even more than this, in fact. We'll see that in the REST API paragraph. But now let's talk about the UI itself. We created a new dashboard. So as a reminder, you could access the XO6 preview by adding /vsex in your existing XOA. I will also give, probably add in the blog post later, if you are using the sources, the way to build it too. Anyway, this new dashboard provides many interesting information, but in short, it provides information regarding the updates for your hosts, the space used for, let's say, replication backup. So it's not just for BR. It is not for BR. It is the storage repositories that are used as a target for replication. So you could have a total space available, how much is used, and so on. So this is really important and give you a straightforward view to know if you can continue to replicate VMs to another storage repository or not, because it's full. Also, we have another panel telling you about the jobs. If jobs are running okay, if there's problems, and so on and so on. So that's why in one view on the dashboard, you can quickly see if there's anything wrong with either your infrastructure or your backup, which are the two critical things used in Xen Orchestra. You could also have the space used in your BR, your backup repository, how much used, space left, and so on. So it's already far better than you have in XO5, and we'll continue to improve the dashboard because, as you can see, there are some empty spaces here and there. That's because the next cards are coming for the next release, and we'll have a full-fledged dashboard coming in few releases. And you will see in the REST API paragraph that it's not just a UI question, it's even beyond this. Regarding the tree view, we continue to improve it. And now the tree view got a number, with a pill, with a number of running VMs that you have inside, for example, a pool here. There's 17 running VMs inside that pool. You have 1 running into this host, 10 on this host, and 6 on this other host. So it's convenient to, without opening the tree, to get instantly the number of VMs that are running into each parent object, let's say the pool or the host. And since it's a similar component, it's not even similar, but there's the same component that is used for XO6 and XOLite. It means XOLite also got this new features. By the way, on XOLite, we are working on getting more features like probably network configuration for next release. So you will be able to bootstrap more efficiently your infrastructure without relying on Xen Orchestra first. Let's move on XOA. So as a reminder, XOA is Xen Orchestra Virtual Appliance. So that's the solution we are, in fact, selling to our customers. So they don't have to install nor manually update their Xen Orchestra. And so we could decide what is stable, what is latest, and having, QA done on known environments, which is not possible with the sources. But anyway, we decided for the last 2 months to keep stable on an older version of Xen Orchestra, which is really stable. And since we introduced CBT in the version just after the 5.95, we prefer to stay on the safe side and only let's say, update stable when you will reach this very release that we do today. But this release today is entering latest first. So we'll have 1 extra month of running this latest release before getting in stable. So stable will stay like this until next month. So if you don't see any updates, except, let's say, patch updates in stable, that's fully normal. If you want to try all the new features I told you about, you have to go into the latest one. We made also some, improvement on the XOA helpers. So those are commands to help you to configure the network without knowing how it works in Linux, for example. And we made some improvement to work with IPv6. Let's talk quickly about the REST API. So it's, in fact, very linked to the new dashboard. In short, all the metrics you've seen on the dashboard are fetched through using the REST API. And that's why the REST API will continue to be improved, provide more and more stuff. And this also means it's completely different than XO5. The main reason is until XO5, basically what you do is fetching all the information in your browser, and then your browser will compute the number of hosts, the number of VMs, and make all the computation locally on your computer in your browser. The main downside with this is you have to download the entire infrastructure objects to make this computation. It's fine if you have 3 hosts, but when you have 3,000 physical machines, as we have some customers and users with those kind of huge infrastructure, you will have to move a huge amount of data. And with the new system, the client will just ask for those numbers, and those numbers will be computed and put into cache on the server side, meaning that regardless of the number of clients, this won't fetch many more information, and this won't put any extra load or too much load on the server. So that's why we want the clients becoming, let's say, dumber somehow, and having a more computation done once in a while with a cache system in the server, also improving the security, leaving less data to move back and forth between the browser and the server. So this is truly a big architectural change we are doing for x86, but we are convinced after many years of let's say feedback on the way we did that, and also now having larger and larger customers, because again, since you might be aware about the Broadcom VMware acquisition, and since that we have larger and larger customers running bigger and bigger infrastructure with hundreds and hundreds of physical machines and even thousands of physical machines. So we have to prepare to have more users and customers like this. So that's why we adapt the software to be sure it scales even beyond a few thousand physical machines. So the REST API, let's say, endpoint we added is the dashboard. So if you make a request like this is what the new UI is doing. You will have many information regarding the size of the BRs, the SRs, the backup drops, the alarms, the patches, and so on and so on. So it's meant to be used by the UI, but it doesn't mean you cannot use it directly with an HTTP call and get what you need to get from those information, and even monitor the situation from this call, if you like. So that's pretty great, and that's the direction we are going. Regarding the VMware V2V system, so as a reminder, something that helps you to connect you directly to an ESXi, list the VM, and transfer the VM directly PNG. We improve the template configuration, and we also provide a new documentation on the thing you have to check before starting the V2V tool. So it's a migration checklist, and there is, everything in detail depending on the VMware version you have, and so on. So that's a pretty handy one that must be read before doing this, and it's integrated right into our official XCPNG documentation too. So please read this checklist before starting. That might help you to be sure that you've done the correct thing before starting. And as usual, to finish with the Misc section, which is most of the time new features that are in X05 UI. The first one is a pretty great one, and in fact, that's probably something we has been asked for years, and that's it. That's for the perf alert plugin, allowing you to exclude specific object like host or pools for some alert configuration. So as a reminder, the perf alert plugin is helping you to trigger alerts by email, for example, or to any like Slack and so on, when you are reaching some threshold or whatever value for storage usage, CPU usage, and so on. But for now, you couldn't directly pick some host or pools you want to exclude for that. And sometimes you want to exclude some of them or some objects from that. And now you can do that. So it's a kind of a excluding some specific things like host, pool, and so on. So pretty handy, and in fact, not that complicated to implement. And we are sure there's many people already requesting that. So that's cool. The next one is not a new feature per se, but a reorganization on the way things are displayed. So if you sort your VMs by install time, if you do not have the information of the install time because the VM, I don't know, was imported from another pool and so on, you have null or no information, and it started to be displayed first, and that's not something you want. You want to sort them by the, let's say, most recent or least recent, but you want to have those null at the end because it's not a, let's say, useful information. So that's why we are putting those unknown at the end of the search to be sure that won't be in your way if you want to compare things that make sense to be compared. And finally, with the OTP key, as you remember, you might use OTP with Xen Orchestra without even using an external SAML or OIDC connect. If you just use it in a standalone user local mode, you can use OTP, and we displayed only the QR code first. And some people wanted to also get the key to be manually entered in whatever software they are using that doesn't have, especially, for example, their mobile, to get the QR code. So we added this, and you have a copy button that will put it in your save it for copy pasting later, and this way it's more convenient to do it. So click that, and it will be in your clipboard that you can then paste in your whatever Bitwarden or whatever tool you use for that. And that's it. As you can see, this is a pretty decent release, all in all, with all the news we have all around XCP-ng, Xen Orchestra, the training program, and so on. Remember, if you have any question, we have a great community forum. You can go there on XCP ng.org/forum. We have many users discussing every day. Happy to read you there. So that's it for today, and see you for the next release in September. Bye-bye.